We have our kitchen table TCG December Championship League match going here between Joe, who's on Briar, and Ryan, who is on Iyslander. Ryan's joining us all the way from Luxembourg, and we have Joe from North Carolina. So this is going to be an exciting match. The Briar Iyslander match is always kind of a pretty intense match. Depending upon what kind of Briar style is being played and what kind of Iyslander is being played, this typically tends to favor the Iyslander, but it all depends on, of course, what else happens throughout the match in terms of getting channel not heroic, if Briar's on channel not heroic, or if Iyslander draws the right disruption at the right time. So we got Briar over here on AB2. It looks like I got a Crown plus Vex and Quill Hand, along with Tunic and Creepers to guard against hypothermias. And then we have Iyslander on your typical loadout, except for the Metacarpus node. Choosing to go with the Ironhide Gauntlets over the Metacarpus nodes with Coronet Peak, Tunic, Ironhide Gauntlets, and of course your Storm Striders for the big explosive kill turn. So it looks like Ryan, who was the higher seed, chose to let Joe go first. Joe starting out with a Sift. That's obviously not the kind of card you'd like, not the kind of card you'd typically see let off with. But Joe getting to do some filtering here, which will allow him to either build a better hand or possibly do a little bit of chip damage on this turn, considering that Ryan's only on AB2, no AB1 from the Metacarpus node. Choosing and electing to put 2 cards to the bottom and draw 2 new cards. We'll see if Briar chooses or elects to attack this turn. Choosing an Arcanic Crackle here. Looks like it's a red. Oops.
This one's a 4.
Arcanic Shockwave. I may have heard that incorrectly here. And it does appear it is the promo version. I believe I heard that was not fused. So just coming in for a raw 4 damage. I will try to do my best at tracking life totals here and doing the card images as well. We have Iyslander starting on that already 36 life total, and Briar, of course, on 40. Choosing to block with an Aetherized Vein and an Insidious Chill.
So you're blocking 5?
That Insidious is a pretty big block there from the...
Oh, lightning press.
Oof.
Up to 7.
A red lightning press. Oops. Iyslander's going to be taking 2, and the Briar's going to be given a embodiment of Earth token. That embodiment of Earth token is actually relevant in this match. Pretty significant, to be honest. It does give Iyslander an ability to respond at the beginning of the action phases, which is when that embodiment of Earth token is destroyed. Now, Joe missed that trigger, at least has not represented the embodiment of Earth token that I see. So it'll depend on if that actually comes into play or not. It sometimes can be beneficial in terms of blocking. Obviously, it gives +1 to your non-attacks when you defend with them. But in most cases, it's actually just given Iyslander the priority window to respond to that destruction.
Wounded bull, pitching lizard.
Coming in with a wounded bull. Red one, getting that +1 because Briar is at higher life total or Iyslander is at lower life total, so effectively becomes a 2-card 8 damage turn from the Iyslander. Presenting some pretty significant damage up front. That's exactly what Iyslander wants to be doing. Wants to be playing out her reds early, getting those attacks out of the way.
Some more reactions. 32.
And Briar is taking all 8 of that wounded bull, representing a pretty significant hand to come back with. So he's ticked up the tunic here, and he should have a response window in this opportunity here. Let's see if it comes into effect or if it is going to be irrelevant. I don't know what Ryan chose to arsenal there. Of course, no one does, but we'll see how impactful it might have been. So we got a Sonata for X equals 1, paying 2 resources, looking to potentially reveal. Looking to reveal 4 cards here. As we all know and love, Sonata is an XX cost of a card. You have to pay twice as much as whatever X is declared as. X was declared as 1, so paying 2 resources in, pitching that blue Sting. And looks like Iyslander is choosing and electing to respond with a hypothermia. Off the reveals, I can't see that first one, but it does look like it's going to be a...
So that's 2 hits. Entwine and Lightning Surge. And then that's a blue Sink and Red Weave Lightning.
Got a 2 and 2 reveal there. The Entwine Lightning and Lightning Surge. I believe they're both red. I can't tell off the pictures that we see there. But coming at him with 2 Arcane.
2 arcane.
Yeah.
I'll take the 2 arcane.
Iyslander takes the 2 Arcane to 32. So we're squared away up here at 32 all. And this was, of course, revealed off the Sonata. So he effectively used 2 cards, Sonata plus the pitch card, and is getting both of those cards back in the form of Lightning Surge and Entwined Lightning. Obviously, 2 pretty well-paired cards together. Entwined Lightning's effect means you can fuse it, give it go again. However, that hypothermia is going to come into great effect there. It's interesting that Ryan chose and elected to play that hypothermia out when he did, and not waiting for an attack that had go again to then make it lose go again. I think that could have been a preemptive play of the hypothermia. There doesn't seem to really be any benefit that he gains from
Not tilt your activation.
playing the hypothermia at that point in time. I mean, he's just giving him one frostbite. It does require Joe to have to pitch a card, of course, but there's no telling how many blues may have in his hand or how many blues he might draw from the Sonata play. He knows he already has one floating from the pitch of the Sting. So I do believe that hypothermia was less impactful than it could have been. Of course, Joe now plays against, plays a little bit of protection in the foot slot of creepers, giving himself the ability to gain essentially an action point back by playing a non-attack at an instant speed once he is attacked with an attack action card. However, it might force him into some awkward plays once he knows he has to do that after hypothermia comes in down and lands. So Joe's taking a bit of time here to figure out how to play around the hypothermia, or how he wants to play around the hypothermia. Because a lot of times, Briars will want to play both non-attacks or play two non-attacks, and therefore limit their ability to use the creepers because they effectively have played all their non-attacks they could have used with creepers. So he's playing the Entwined Lightning.
I can fuse, but hypothermia.
Yeah, so he's not revealing any additional information there because he knows, Ryan knows that the Lightning Surge is in his hand, so the fuse irrelevant in both cases. Yep, so the Frostbite's gone. This effectively is 4.
I'm not blocking. I'll take the 4. No blocks.
Okay. What's that card up at the top? Oh, the Frostbite. Okay. I thought it was something you blocked.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'll put it back here.
So you're going down to 30?
Taking 4. I was at 32.
So no blocks, right?
No blocks. Yeah. So
Okay.
28.
Iyslander's going down to 28. I think
In reaction, I'm going to Creeper.
he's already taken the damage, but I don't think it really matters here in this instance. That he's going to be activating his creepers, pitching what looks and appears to be a blue Captain's Call. Yep.
Nimblism.
He's putting in Nimblism at instant speed
So it would just be
and gaining his action point back.
So 28.
Yeah, 28.
So
And then
this will trigger Briar. Even though the embodiment of lightning token doesn't give go again anymore, it does actually happen. Seven no go again and no action point anymore. So just presenting an additional 7 damage here on this turn. It's a pretty significant amount of damage that's being presented right now. Just the simple pure fact that he is able to present 11 damage this turn is challenging for Iyslander to have to deal with, because while they were going to be just 4 apart at 32 to 28, this additional 7 damage is widening that margin quite drastically. I believe in most cases this Briar Iyslander match becomes can Briar start forcing Iyslander to block before Briar gets into that 10 to 14-ish life range? because then it becomes significantly challenging for Briar to start stripping cards from Iyslander's hand without giving over the wins through the big explosive play. So looking, this is lightning surge. This lightning surge for 7. We get a block of Cornet Peak and an Aether Ice Vein.
Taking 2.
Ryan's elected to take 2 more. I don't know what that Cornet Peak block really did for him there. It's not.
Thing, passing priority on instep.
Nothing.
The 2 damage there was pretty irrelevant. You're not blocking any on hits. You're not stopping an embodiment token if you worried about that. But that embodiment token not being created, I believe, is potentially hindering the Iyslander player here more than it would, benefit the Briar player. And Joe recognizes that he missed that trigger there. It looks like Ryan missed a tunic counter already this game. Let's see if it actually comes into play or not. Just putting back another, 8 damage back at the Briar. Briar presenting 11, being hit for 8. Can't continue to trade at that rate down to the lower life totals. Otherwise, you'll just end up in a bad spot as Briar. Again, I think that Cornet Peak block was significantly early and represented no additional value when blocking with it. It really starts to limit you on your Channel Lake Frigid turns when you're trying to keep a Channel Lake out and you need to block with the rest of your remaining cards and then just pitch to peak Arsenal a card. I wonder if that's going to come into play or not, or if Briar's going to be as aggressive as she has been so far and continue to take large chunks of damage. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to say the least. Joe's going through a lot of thought processes here. He has the embodiment token to aid in his defenses while his non-attacks. Obviously, his non-attack actions give him some additional bonus in getting embodiment of lightning tokens.
I'll just block 1. Taking 7.
I'm curious if I didn't. Oh, he dealt the Sonata damage. So he took 7 damage down to 25 is what I have him at. And we got 26 for Iyslander. That was a wounded. I'm not keeping track of the wounded bulls as much here. So the embodiment token broke. It's given Iyslander the opportunity to play it.
Blue captain's call for go again.
I got a captain's call coming out here for the option of go again. Giving the next 0 action card with 0, you play go again.
For go again.
And dropping a snatch right behind it for 4 go again. Of course, on hit draw. The on hit draw being the most aggressive there. This is where that tunic counter really could come into play. I don't know if Ryan is on Brothers in Arms or not, but a tunic counter and Brothers in Arms is a nice clean block of snatch, or possibly even just a tunic counter to pump into your Ironhide Gauntlets with a card. It effectively lets you block the snatch for reducing the on-hit ability, cleanly with just a card and a piece of equipment, rather than having to commit 2 cards to the block, out of hand that is. And also this Cornet Peak, coming back to this Cornet Peak block, another instance, and here's another chance of why that Cornet Peak block actually matters here, because now if Ryan would have taken that 2 additional damage, he'd be at 24, and he would be gaining this life off the Wounded Bull. Or not the Wounded Bull, the Fighting Spirit. So we got another Lightning Press. Oh goodness. And taking 3 damage.
23 is correct.
Taking 3, going to 23. Obviously, it's going to trigger the
Give me 1 second, sorry.
draw off of Snatch, and it's going to trigger Briar as the embodiment of Earth token. So, quite the turn of events here, and another significant reason that Cornet Peak block really comes into play is that Ryan, on this Snatch specifically, even if he doesn't block it for 7 to cleanly block the draw ability, which I don't think you really can as Iyslander anyway, play around that, you could block with the Cold Snap for 2, the Cornet Peak for 2, and have kept that Fighting Spirit in hand. Now, of course, we don't know what the rest of Ryan's hands look like, but you could then have saved the Fighting Spirit to have attacked with on the following turn after. So I think that'll come back to, come into play when it comes into deciding factors towards the late game on the early Cornet Peak block. Hopefully for Ryan's sake, if, a misstep like that doesn't come into too much of a detriment going into the later game, but you don't know, and you don't want to open any kind of doors and windows for your opponent, give them any kind of advantages if you don't have to, of course. Now, if people come and surprise you with certain things, there's certain things that you can and can't play around, I think, and it just comes down to being able to predict those things a little bit, but it's all right.
Mother-in-law has our son, and she just got like a flat tire in the parking lot, so my wife's got to go.
Joe had to take a quick phone call there, as why the lag in play is happening, but everything looks to be on track now.
I'll draw.
So, drawing off the Snatch,
Yeah, and then
creating the embodiment of Earth token. Just have dealt 3 damage. We got a Iyslander on 23. We got Briar on 25 still. We got Ryan with 2 cards in hand. Joe, from what it appears to be, 3 cards in hand, no cards in arsenal. Ryan has a card in arsenal though here. No Frostbites on board currently. Got a Ravenous Rabble.
Ravenous Rabble. Reveal red on top, so 4 go again.
Revealing that Arcanic Shockwave, red Arcanic Shockwave at that, getting -1 from the Ravenous Rebel effect, coming in for 4 go again. Looks like Ryan's going to be taking the 4 down to 19. Still within a pretty reasonable margin, 19 to 25 here, but obviously Joe's on the attack with 2 cards in hand, presumably a card from hand, or possibly even a card from hand and Tunic into Rosetta, which would be the best of lines that would be available to the Briar player here right now. If you had another Ravenous Rabble or something with innate go again. Ravenous Rabble is the only thing I can think of right now. Obviously, if you had a Entwined Lightning fused target to give it go again into the Rosetta swing, but who knows. Flashing what appears to be a Sift there in his pitch zone. Looks like he's just pitching Sift into Rosetta for 2-2.
2 and 2. 2 play.
One of the more challenging weapons in all of Flesh and Blood to have to block. Looks like Ryan's taken 2 Arcane from the Rosetta,
Arcane,
17,
blocks
and then
on physical.
no blocks on the physical.
So
Heading down to that
Yep, okay.
15 life total.
Pass priority.
Nothing.
Briar passes at the end of step here. No actions taken from Briar. Turn is over for Briar. Again with Briar at 25 and Iyslander at 15. Ryan on a 2-card hand over there. Potentially another 2-card, 7 attack. Hopefully he doesn't miss his tunic again. He's needing to take that tunic hopefully now before he starts anything that he has to do. Ryan doesn't miss the tunic this time, so hopefully. All right. Fighting Spirit for 7, gaining a life to 16. Potentially having missed a life gain on when he had to defend with the Finals Fighting Spirit to potentially have put him, which would be at 17. Sounds relatively small and slim, but sometimes those 1 life margins make all the difference when it comes down to it. We'll see if it impacts this game. Joe's looking like he's contemplating a block here on this 8 damage. 8 would put him at 17 if he just fully takes it. He's been taking a majority of these attacks. Oh, I'm sorry. It would put him at 18. I apologize. It's going in for 7. This is not a wounded bull. But he's taken a wounded bull. The first one, he took it for 8. He took the second one effectively, only blocking with creepers, getting some value out of the creepers. Took it for 7. And then now, of course, he's facing 7 damage here from this Fighting Spirit. He was looking at attempting to block with that Swarming Gloomveil, blocking for 3 and potentially, theoretically, could be attacking for 4 on his follow-up turn. Depends what kind of potential disruption Ryan is planning on his follow-up, on the Briar's turn, as to see what this could look like. Probably should put up Findall's Fighting Spirit on the card image. That would probably help any viewer out there. But a little slow on there as opposed to announcing the actual action of what's happening. But as we finally see Fighting Spirit on the table there, it's 3 for 7, gaining the life here at lower health. No response from, possibly a response. Thinking about a response right now on the Embodiment Destruction. So it does appear that Briar took that 7 damage to go to 18.
I'll respond.
Got a Channel Lake Frigid on the table.
Resource.
It is a nasty card for Briar to have to chew through. Depending upon what's in Briar's hand, could really change the outcome of this game overall. This is a pretty pivotal turn, I think, as to what goes forward from here. I think Ryan possibly picked up on the fact that Joe was blocking with a red, and knows that he has at least one of his 4 cards as red. I mean, obviously, it's pretty high likelihood that that's going to be the case, but potentially, Joe's dealing with a weak resource hand. who knows? If Joe would have considered blocking with a blue, you'd feel pretty confident and safe that Joe was working with at least an additional blue in hand. But considering that he chose not to block with the red, would possibly shed some light as to what's actually happening inside the hand. So that Weave Lightning gonna cost him 2.
That.
So
It costs 2 now. Because of first
Yeah, I'm
one.
paying 2. Right, I had 1 floating from the tunic, and then pitching
I
1,
had
paying 2 in.
So no floating for Joe now. I think it's a red. I can't quite tell.
Pitching 1 more. The fuse was lightning front. So 7 go again.
Yep. So it is a
Yeah, or 7 and 1 go again.
Arcanic Shockwave. The Arcanic Shockwave was fused. The Wee Lightning effect does trigger to give it go again because it was fused. So Arcanic Shockwave, when fused, deals 1 arcane, and then Weave Lightning, because the Arcanic Shockwave was fused, also gives it go again. Of course, Joe doesn't have any floating resources to swing Rosetta even because of Channel Lake. So this is simply and purely 8 effective damage, 1 arcane with 7 physical. So we got Briar on 18, Iyslander on 16. I think this is a pretty safe area for the Iyslander player to be in at the current moment. He has Tunic available to him. He has a resource floating right now that can, I would say, easily go into the arcane damage. However, he's on Ironhide Gauntlets versus the Metacarpus node.
Well, response instant, take the training resource waning moon for 3.
Choosing to Waning Moon for 3.
15.
Briar goes to 15.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see what Ryan chooses and Alex to do here. There's no real gain value in the arcane damage block here because he has AB2. So he's going to take that arcane to go down to 15.
Take it all. What about the arcane?
Yeah.
So taking 8.
15 and then hitting 7 down to 8. So that does give the Briar player and Joe, that is, an embodiment of Earth, and we have a 8-15 game. Iyslander on 8, Briar at 15. There's a Channel Lake Frigid in play, and Ryan was able to keep all the remaining cards that he had in hand for that turn. This is looking pretty dicey on the Briar side, I would say. Briar is on AB2, but you really don't want to be pitching too much into AB. Briar, obviously, you want to be using those resources to swing and attack and pay through Frostbites if possible. And it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. That channel is going to really do some devastating work in this late game. Especially if... Alright, so this is an Aether Hail blue. So obviously, looks like Ryan was playing an all blue hand there. You got an Aether Hail for 2 arcane, with presumably a 2 arcane Waning Moon follow-up. If Briar takes it all, puts Briar at 11 with a Channel Lake in play. Not a very strong position for the Briar player to be in with Channel on board.
Yeah, no block.
So,
no AD.
So you got Briar taking 2 down to 13. And it looks like Briar's also going to take that 2 as well. Down to 11. This is a pretty scary position for the Briar player to be in, I'd say. If Briar has 2 blues in this hand, I think that I could really do some work across this turn. We know that there's a lightning press in Arsenal, so depending upon what Gorganian Tome. It pitched a blue. I can't tell if it's a blue or a red. It looks like it pitched a blue lightning surge. So he may have to force Ryan to have to play around that surge, depending upon what actually happens. I mean, not the surge, but the press in Arsenal, that is. It's just 3 damage sitting there. It's going to cost him a resource due to Channel Lake's effect, of course. But Ryan, sitting on his gauntlets and his tunic still, and of course still has his striders. If he arsenaled something like an Aether Hail, an Aether Ice Vein, even Ice Bolt, can really, out of nowhere, just leap out and just grab the Briar. Briar is on AB2, so Briar does have a little bit of defense as opposed to being as far away as a kill zone. I think that kill zone for, depending on how Briar has to lay her hand out in order to present the damage, that kill zone is further extended because of AB2. Makes it slightly more challenging to end the games from as far out of a life zone. Joe weighing the options of what he can do. He really needs a go-again attack. A pretty significant need of a go-again attack here. The Swarming's not going to have Nate go again. But if Ryan were to let this hit, it would. And Joe's thinking that he can possibly push that on hit effect with, I assume, that Lightning Press in Arsenal. So if Ryan wanted to just clean block this, not make sure it doesn't have go again, there's no extension to the turn, he would just block it for 6. Of course, Joe hasn't played that card yet, so we don't know what's actually going to transpire after this Gorganian Tome. Oops. It doesn't appear that Joe has an attack that has natural go again in his hand. This is going to be things like Rabble, Entwined Lightning, Fused, and so I think he's going for that swarming play. Swarming Gloomveil. So interesting thing in interaction with Briar's ability in Swarming Gloomveil is from when Go Again actually resolves in the resolution step, Briar at that point in time will have created an embodiment token during the damage calculation when the hit event occurs. The hit event occurs first, and then the resolution step occurs, which is when Go Again is granted. So effectively, the Briar has 1 floating resource right now to play the Lightning Press from Arsenal, which would then grant Go Again to Swarming Gloomveil if Ryan does not block this for 6. But it all depends on what Ryan can do on his following turn. So Ryan just choosing to block for 3 here. It does appear that that'll open the door for Joe to play this Lightning Press, deal 3 damage, which would put Iyslander to 5. Oh, and Ryan has the sink below.
That's
My goodness. So Ryan is going to stay at
Yep.
8. That holds the rest and remaining of Joe's turn.
And stuff.
yeah, okay.
So we have we got Briar on 11, Iyslander on 8. Ryan is able to keep 2 cards in hand, and he still has Channel out. Of course, unless he has an Aether Ice Vein in his arsenal, or in his arsenal will be the only way that he's able to keep Channel out. Or if he had 2 ice cards in hand and a spell in arsenal.
You need 2. Is there him? 2 okay.
Another blue Aether Hail, just slowly chipping the Briar down. I don't know if he plays reds or not, but I'm sure he'd be willing to rather be trading these blue attacks and damage spells to his reds, but nonetheless.
Take 2. So 9.
Joe on Briar taking 2 arcane down to 9. Another waning moon to follow with another 2 arcane. Asking Briar if they want to go to 7. 7's definitely a dire place to be with any wizard. 7 is a Emeritus Scolding and Waning Moon away. So we got Briar chipped all the way down. Briar was able to keep a full hand. Tunic only at 2, but a full hand and an arsenal certainly able to deal a lot more than 8 damage. Obviously, this all depends upon what
Captain's Call for plus 2.
Screen's just very
you can lay down, but you're trying to listen to me talk. Okay?
My hand up here. So.
We got a little bit of a screen blur here, but it's all right.
Oh.
Looks like Joe's trying to straighten out the screen over there on his side. Looks like he played a captain's call.
Conrad Fuller, out. I did not give you permission. Out now.
He's okay now. But
Are you done?
No.
No,
Still-
then get out. Absolutely not.
Yep.
No, he cannot be back here. That was not the rules. Come on. I don't care. Out.
Hey,
Six.
nice to see you. Hope you have a good day. Okay. I'm recording right now. Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Go on, bud. Okay. Go. Jesus. So we got a captain's call into a lightning surge. I don't know what he chose on the captain's call there. Had a brief little interruption there with my kids walking in, but now that we're back in the action, possibly chose, and most likely chose +2. Looks like he's represented with the die there. So this is relatively significant, unless Ryan has
3 cards in hand.
a reaction of sorts, because he knows that he's seen 2 lightning presses already, and a third just simply ends the game at this point in time if he doesn't have a reaction and or a way to kill the Briar through AB2 and 2 cards. I assume this Lightning Press was played, or this Lightning Surge was played from Arsenal. I didn't quite see it. I missed it on that front, so I don't know if this actually has Go Again or not. I would think that it does, given that most of what you want to be doing is, Arsenal and Lightning Surges. So Ryan having to mull over quite a bit here. He really just needs to make it out of this turn with the possibility of presenting any kind of damage. If Ryan can present any kind of damage and also Arsenal a card, or even just present any kind of damage on Briar's turn, and then make it to the next turn.
Just checking your graveyard, please. You played 3 lightning presses, right?
I believe he's only played 2. Ryan's asking Joe over here to check the graveyard for lightning presses.
Yes.
And it looks like
Span through.
Yeah. I'm just thinking what to do now. Just give me a sec.
No, no worries. I was just trying to span through everything if you wanted to take a look.
looks like there are 3 lightning presses. 3 lightning presses in the grave. Given how much lightning Joe is on, it would not surprise me that he's on a yellow lightning press or a razor. Yellow lightning press seems more likely, given all the fuses and arcanic shockwaves and entwined lightnings and weaved lightnings that Joe has played so far. So it'll be interesting as to what Ryan chooses to do. I think it sounds to me like he's looking at just taking all 6 of this damage to see what comes down the line. I think that's slightly risky, given about how aggressive the Briar deck has shown to be. I would be most concerned with an additional reaction at this stage of the game. Ryan is taking his time here. This is definitely an important decision that he's having to make. I want to recall back to blocking with that Cornet Peak early. It would have gained him 1 additional life, changing nothing about the way that Ryan has played, other than the timing of which he has chose to block with the Cornet Peak. He blocked with a Fighting Spirit at an inopportune time that did not gain him the life of when, if he would have taken the damage from the attack by not blocking with Cornet Peak, he would have been at a lower life total to have then gained that life when he had blocked with Fighting Spirit, which would leave him at 9 now, which would mean that he'd be out of a yellow lightning press's kill range on this attack. Obviously still Razor being +3 within in the game. Looks like Ryan is electing to pull up that Ironhide Gauntlets. Is going to make him pitch a resource into it. Ooh, and he looks like he's got a Brothers in Arms as well. So possibly getting the best effective use out of whatever he chooses to pump into. I see. He is blocking 6 with the
That leaves you at
Brothers in Arms and Ironhide Gauntlets. He's paying that 1 additional resource to give the additional defense value to Brothers in Arms, blocking the entire attack of the Lightning Surge for 6. He had a Brain Freeze in Arsenal.
Rebel.
Wow. Choosing to play Revel and Runeblood, the Briar is creating 4 rune chants, as well as triggering the Briar ability of creating an embodiment of lightning token. So I think Joe has 2 cards in hand still. I believe. I can't tell for sure. Yes, Joe has 2 cards in hand. He's got 4 rune chants created.
Got 2 in hand.
Ryan's on 2 cards and an arsenal.
One float.
Got 1 floating resource. 1 floating resource that he really can't do much with. Unless he's going to choose to go off. Yeah, this is rough.
4 and 4. Go again.
Presenting lethal here with the
So I
rune
guess
chants.
Chain clears from the roll.
The rune chants and the Scar for Scar are going to present lethal altogether. So 4 arcane, 1/1/1/1, and Scar for 4 go again because of the
Go again.
lower life total and also the embodiment of lightning token itself. Now Joe is on Vexing Quill hand, so it is likely that Joe could push for lethal here if he had the ability to, and this is where playing Metacarpus Node also comes into factor with things like Rebel, things like Vexing, and of course the ability to cleanly block single points of arcane with floating pitches around, or tunic pitches. So he's really committed to taking this 4 arcane and going down to 4, because there's no real true great way to block it. He could AB2 3 times, but that wouldn't be an effective way to do it. It would probably end up with him dead. Ryan's in a difficult spot here, because most likely it is just a pitch for Rosetta for 2 and 2. I had him at 4. I must have missed a damage somewhere. I just heard Ryan say 3, so there must have been somewhere along the lines that I missed out on damages. It's a tough block to have to make.
Taking 1.
Taking 1 down to 2, what it looks like.
1 in hand.
He can't block Rosetta. Unless he's got a Emeritus Scolding. If he's got a Scolding, he can do it. He's got 1 floating resource, a card in hand. Choosing to break the Vexing Quill hand. If I could type, I can't type apparently. And pitching a surge
2 and 2.
to swing Rosetta.
2
So,
float.
this is Rosetta for 2 arcane, well, 2 rune chance, 2 arcane, 2 physical. If Ryan has the Emeritus Scolding in Arsenal, he still can't kill him because of AB1, and because he had a blue.
Yeah, you got it. I can go.
Oh, he had.
Emeritus into
Yeah,
waiting
Emerit-
for 7.
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Wow,
game,
bro.
Joe.
Hey. Fist bump. That was an excellent game.
Very, very close game. Obviously,
What's your first name again? Sorry, I only saw the screen name.
Ryan.
Ryan, okay. Well, the pleasure, man. I really enjoyed it. I would like to
So,
play that game.
well
That
fought
was
battle
even
down to the
fun,
end
you know?
there.
Most definitely.
I don't think
So I was
the
like, caught on
one life
or
total
you
block
got a
red card.
difference
Yeah.
made much of a change in the outcome of the game there, but I think that there could have been some different decisions on the Iyslander side that could have resulted in some possible different outcome there. But really well played by the Briar. Definitely a more low to the ground streamlined deck. More remnants of when Briar first released and the types of builds we saw with the first types of Briar's deck. More lightning focused, more zero cost. I don't think I saw a single card in that deck that cost a single resource. So it's pretty aggressive, pretty pretty straight to the face. Nonetheless, took it to the win in the December Kitchen Table CC League. If you enjoyed this match or want to join the league, you're welcome to jump in the Discord server on Louis' server. The next month's in January, which happens to be right now, it starts coming tomorrow. So if you're watching this, we invite you to join. Come join the fun. A lot of good players in this league. A lot of fun. A lot of creative deck builds and deck builders, and it's a lot of fun every month. Looks like Joe's going to be taking home the kitchen table belt as a playmat, and I'll be getting that kitchen table tag in the Discord to show off. It was a great match. Both competed well. Ryan's been in some finals himself. He's all up here in the top tables towards the end of the month. So great to see international players join the league and also doing great things.
It's just the time zones that makes it a bit complicated. But yeah, it was definitely a good game, man.
Great.
I have a pretty free schedule because I work from home, so just hit me up,
Okay.
man. But at the very least, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next league or in the next
Thank
go
you.
round. All right, brother? Yeah.
Great match, guys. Hey, well done, Ryan. I'll have to get with you about your box for this month as well. So I will reach out to you about that. Joe, congratulations on the December victory. Well deserved.
That's Joe.
You'll be getting a playmat sent your way to rep and support. So well done. Great showing of the Lightning Briar deck there. We will hope to see you
That's what
next month as well.
first place is just the mat.
First place is the mat and the cold foil and an armory promo of the month.
Nice. Cool.
So
Cool. I was just curious.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, great deal. If you haven't signed up for next month, we hope you do. It starts tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I'll get and sign up tonight then.
Sweet.
All right, man.
All right.
Everybody have a great night.
All right, you as well. Later, everybody.